little dance on our ID badges real quick. All right. Dance on our ID badges back, maybe, if you've been with us before. All right. Dance on our ID badges. Reddington, maybe, if you've been with us before. It is in production with Haunted Griffin Entertainment and is kind of a little subset of our regular podcast, Once Upon a Monster of the Week. Continuity Errors is going to give you a little bit deeper dive into the broader universe that Once Upon a Monster takes place in. We'll be using a new game system each week with a new GM who only gets the Cliff Note version of what happened in the previous episode. So hopefully you'll come along, have a good time with our agents of the Bureau of Extranormal Encounters and Fractalations as we get a wider glimpse of as the world becomes aware of just what sorts of strange things are happening in the town of Reddington, New Hampshire. I am Mick Wheaton. In our regular podcast, I play Nihilus Wheeler. I'll be bringing you a whole new character here today. My pronouns are he, him, and I am going to pass it off to Reese.
What's up? I'm Reese. I play Xiomara Hernandez, and I'm a writer and voice actor here at Once Upon a Monster of the Week. I will pass it on to Cam.
Hi, I'm Cam Clark. I play Morgan Lapointe Evans in the Monster of the Week podcast that we're all talking about. And yes, I am a biologist in real life and an amateur of TTRPG when I come back home. I will pass it on to, I need to pass it on. I just realized I will pass it on to Alice.
Hi, I'm Alice Hart. She, they pronouns. You can find me pretty much anywhere online at Hellion Hart. I play in our normal podcast, Delilah Fleece, and this means I'm going to pass it down to Sarah.
Hey, I'm Sarah Palmero. She, he pronouns. I play Jessa June Greeley on the regular podcast, and also bring you a totally new character for this one. But yeah, I think we're going back to Mick then.
All right. So for today's episode, we're going to be doing a little bit of character building. And for that, we are going to be borrowing a custom mod of Vast and Starlit, that game's character creation, being created by Epidiah Ravachol. So we have one of our own talented crew members who modded that for us, and we're going to be running through that. So that said, we're going to run through and a brief introduction from each player with their character's name and as much or little as the description as they would like to provide at this time. Part of today's plan is to go through and flesh those characters out a little bit more. Some of us have come with a name, and that might be about it. Some might have a little bit more backstory to it, but we're going to explore them a little bit here together. Reese, would you like to kick us off?
Sure. Okay, so my little blurbo is a ray of sunshine named May Adams, also called Agent Runt, because Runt is a nickname. She has a very strange case of teleportation. She teleports randomly to places whenever she sneezes. She carries like a little thing of black pepper in case of emergencies. You know, if she needs to get out of a tough spot and needs to sneeze real quick, she'll like snort that shit, teleport somewhere else. She works at the Bureau / is sort of being studied by them. She's considered like a Class D anomaly because what she can do is not exactly, fatal or dangerous to anybody except for her. So she's kind of like, she's there to be studied, but also she can help out a little bit.
Excellent. Alice?
Right. So I'm going to be playing Cumulonimbus Doe, or Nimbus, or Nim, if that's too much of a mouthful as well. They're here. They joined the Bureau accidentally. They thought, it was going to be like one of those meetings, MLM groups, something or another that had snacks afterwards. They didn't have snacks. They should really change the name if they're not going to have snacks.
Is the Bureau of Extranormal Encounters and Fractalations not pretty clear?
Well, beef and a cow's head really leads some people to believe there are burgers. But Nim has they, them pronouns. They're just happy to be here.
All right. Cam?
Yeah. I'm going to be playing Félicien Sans Regret. Do whatever you want with the name in your English language. He's undead and constantly carries his instrument, a guitar, and part of himself on his back. And he has not been home since he's been zombified. And yes, he was recruited by a French division of the beef, which I have named Bureau des Occurrences Extranormales Universelles Fractalaires, which translates to bœuf, and like to make sure to stay in the same theme. Theme. So yes, that's my guy. Uses he him pronouns.
All right. Now I'm curious. I have a little point of clarification. He carries a guitar and a piece of himself on his back, or is the guitar basically like part of himself?
No, like there's more stuff in the guitar case, basically, than just the guitar. Pieces of himself.
How do I follow that? I will be playing Eddie Bluehill, and it is Eddie, not Edie, just in case anybody was wondering. Eddie Bluehill is your tech guy. He is the dude who will make you whatever gadgets the organization needs, you personally need. He likes to play with technology. He is also your, what's the word, prognosticator, future seer. He has sometimes prophetic dreams. So and so occasionally most of the time he gets it right, but occasionally he will like do a big warning. And he uses he they pronouns. And that's the guy.
All right. And I will be playing Corporal Brett Butcherson, who was recently promoted to this position, leading an investigative field team to study the anomaly that is Reddington. Brett uses he, him pronouns, has been with the Bureau for quite some time. He recently transferred from a different division. And this is his first position of command. So with that, we've kind of run through our basic introductions. So now we will begin by fleshing out our characters by going around and asking a series of questions of each other. Each player will be asked 2 questions by each other player to flesh out their character. And we'll start by Reese. You okay being in the hot seat? All right, so we'll follow that same order: Alice, Cam, Sarah, myself, and then run through it 2 times, asking whatever questions we need to help flesh out this character, help flesh out our relationships between our characters, and the relationship between characters and the Bureau. So, Alice, what would you like to know from Reese?
What is Runt's earliest memory?
So Runt's earliest memory was being crawling through a patch of what's it called? Pumpkins, just like miles and miles of pumpkins. So she mistakenly believes that her birthday is somewhere in October. She doesn't know when she was born. She just assumes it was October because her earliest memory is just crawling through pumpkins.
Great.
Oh, do you ask twice or do we ask one?
We'll run through everybody and then we'll run through again. So okay. You're up, Cam.
I'm very curious about this teleportation thing. So what's the worst place where she ended up after teleporting?
So the worst place she's ever ended up was actually on a ledge inside of an active volcano.
Oh.
which is why she started carrying the pepper in the first place. She got lucky because all that smoke made her sneeze again, but just in case, she has to have a contingency plan.
Love it.
All right, Sarah?
Is Runt a nickname that she picked for herself, or is that something that somebody else gave her?
Runt is actually a nickname that everyone she teleports to calls her because she always ends up in places she's not supposed to be. So, and because she's so short, people are always calling after her, oh, someone get that Runt. And so she's like, oh yeah, Runt's a nickname now. And it's like, it's not a nickname, but she doesn't know that. So,
All right. So I got to know, how did Runt end up on Beef's radar?
Teleported inside one of the labs one day, and it was probably the most chill place she's ever teleported to. So she just kind of stuck around. Like she would like walk or just around as much of the lab as she could. There wasn't like many places she could go to because she didn't have like a badge or whatever. And so she just kind of kept fucking around in one of the labs until someone found her. And she was just like, hey.
But it is a secure facility, so obviously you're supposed to be there.
Obviously.
Otherwise, how would you have gotten in? Okay, so did Runt ever actually get hired, or they're just still operating? That's the second question already, I guess. So we'll bring it back around. We'll just have to wait to find out. Okay. Ellis.
All right. So as part of our hacked Vast and Starlit system, we do have a few questions we have to make sure we ask. So with the first of those, what danger do you bring to the group?
So Runt has a bit of an issue of having sticky fingers. She likes to have souvenirs of every place she goes to, and so sometimes she ends up with items that does not belong to her, and people are trying to find her because she's the last weird thing that happened before the thing went missing. So there's people looking for her, and people found with her are probably thought to be part of like the same gang or something.
All right, Cam?
Yeah. About that, does she has any kind of support system, like very good friends or parents? Or, well, I assume since she doesn't know her birthday, probably not, but any kind of support system or friends and family.
So her parents are hippies, who are very much free-spirited and just believe that, the world is their oyster. Clearly, the sneezing teleportation is a gift from some god or whatever. So run off to your little heart's desire and see what you can find out about the world. And so she just figures like, oh, I have my parents' support. They're totally cool with me just like running amok. Sometimes I'm traumatized because it's not great, nearly seeing death over and over again. But it's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah, hanging off of that question, where is her secret hideout? What's the place that she can always go back to if she's really in trouble?
So the place that she can go to if she's really in trouble is actually, so there is an old cafe near, she says her hometown. She doesn't actually know where like the hometown is. There's a small like basement place that just in like this old cafe that's kind of run down. That she just likes to take like one of the corner parts where like there's the last computer, and she just likes to sit in front of it. She doesn't actually do anything on the computer. She just likes the feeling of like, yes, I'm here just like many other people are here. And here, look at me typing away on this computer, even though she's not doing anything.
All right. So I guess our final question for Runt. I'm curious, how has being an agent with Beef changed Runt?
Being an agent, well, obviously she gets like a cool new badge. She didn't have that before. she had to actually argue to be an agent, because before she was just supposed to be studied, but she doesn't like sitting still either. So she had to kind of she had to argue about like her worth as an agent, and she just, to her, what that meant is saying a bunch of words in a sentence, and who knows what those words were. She was just saying shit. And everyone just like, at some point, we're just like, I feel like I'm getting brain damage listening to you, so I'm just going to say yes to whatever you want. And so she's like, she's gotten into the habit of like, if I can annoy a person just enough, they will let me do shit. Because before, she never had anyone to ask permission to, but now she's just like, I gotta fight for what I want. And that's how, beef has changed her.
Right. So now we know a bit more about Runt. Alice, you good to go next?
Oh, definitely.
All right. Reese, time to return the favor. What would you like to know about Alice's character?
Okay. What is a comfort item to that character?
Nim's comfort item is a necklace they wear around like just constantly. It looks like it was probably made by like a younger kid. It's like pony beads and like just multicolored on like this really bright pink piece of string. They're constantly, like, when they get nervous, just fiddling around with it.
All right. Cam?
Yeah. They look like a very chill character, so I'm curious about what would make them angry.
They get angry when they're talked down to.
Mm.
They know that maybe they're not like the most intelligent, maybe not like the best person to answer all the tech questions. They'll definitely default that over to Eddie, but they're not like completely incompetent, not completely stupid. And people treating them like that, just kind of slow burning anger.
Let's see. What is the scariest thing that has ever happened to Nim?
Nim just kind of gets into situations sometimes. Coincidence, curse, who really knows? Maybe that's why they ended up walking into a beef meeting by accident. But the scariest thing that's ever happened to them, they heard something in the woods one night camping. It was their mother's voice. Definitely nowhere near where their mother should be. And hiding in their tent, they just heard the voice coming closer, and the silhouette up against it, all crooked and wrong, and definitely not something a human voice should come out of. They definitely dreamt that, though. Obviously. That's what they told themselves anyways.
All right. So we've got this kind of balance of a chill vibe with the potential for anger and a history of dealing with some extra normal encounters, it sounds like. So maybe, assuming it's not just a dream, but of course it's just a dream. So, taking my turn, I'm going to default to one of our mandatory questions. I want to know, what danger does Nim bring to the group?
He tends to maybe react first before thinking, especially when it's in a situation where someone needs help and they can definitely offer that help, regardless of whether or not that person is to be trusted. They are very much lead first into danger without even realizing it's really danger. And that might put some people into some really, really rough situations.
All right. Round 2.
I had a question and then I lost it. Give me a second.
We can kick the order off a little bit if you want.
No, it's just gonna mess with me. Just give me a second. What is keeping Nem working at Beef?
Well, I mean, they really just kind of walked in, and once you know too much about Beef, I don't think they're really willing to let you go, even accidentally. So there were options. Nem didn't like the options, so they're here now, and they're just happy to be here now.
That's great. I get a question a bit more about their past. What do they do in like their everyday life? What did they do before getting to Beef? What was their normal day before Beef?
Well, they were a college student. They found the flyer for what they thought was a informational meeting on campus one day. It was not an informational meeting, for the record.
No.
They were working a side job at some crummy little like college bar, taking classes. They are technically were on the college lacrosse team. Technically on the team, it was mostly on the bench, but they know how to play lacrosse.
Nice.
My turn again? Let's see. Yeah, my brain just went blank. Hang on a sec.
We do have 2 other default questions you could go to.
We do. Oh, that actually ties into something I was wondering. What secret knowledge do you have?
I'd say Nim is actually really good at talking with people and talking to people. They are very personable. So they're probably going to be a good asset, a good person to take the lead on conversations if no one else is a very sensitive person.
All right. All right, I need to know, what is the most difficult thing that Beef has ever asked of you?
Well, they did ask Nim to take an aptitude test. I mean, it's their first week on the job. They had to like take an aptitude test, fill out all the like I-9 paperwork. They had to go and like look through their phone of the last like 5 years of addresses. I think you did get a new suit. That's nice.
All right. Yeah, so that I think gives us a little bit of context about Nim and quite a few questions as well still, but playing the game, keeping it moving. Cam, time to learn a little bit more about your character. Reese, what do you got?
What is the weirdest when I say thing, I don't mean like an actual thing. I want to know like what is the weirdest person that your character has met outside of Runt. Like, you know how Runt has the teleportation thing? Like, if there's another weird thing happening with the person, what's the weirdest one that your character has met?
So Felicien wasn't very much has never been really into contact with supernatural stuff before like this zombification event. But since he plays at bar and sometimes in the street, he's met quite a few weirdos that has approached him, and that's sadly a very normal response, but it's probably like this old guy who approached him in a bar and was like, you are going to go into that door and find something incredible. And like kind of a guy who seems like he's telling a prophecy or whatever. And that probably kept him up at night before I realized that the guy was probably just very high. And that is his most, like weird event that he's ever seen before.
All right, Alice.
What lie has he been telling to himself?
Oh. Well, I hope it's not a lie, but it's probably that this situation is reversible and that he can fix it somehow, that he can become whole again and like a normal human again, and that sure, yeah, he can go back to his normal life. That is definitely the lie he's telling himself about.
What skill does he brag about? Like, absolutely tell everybody that he's the best at doing, that he has no fucking clue how to do.
Oh, that's a good one. I would assume he brags a lot, which I guess can be can be something he does. Hmm. Hmm. I need to think about that. Oh, well, he says that he's a really good cook. But that being said, the only thing he can cook really well is ramen, but like a good kind of ramen, like his ramen are on top, like they look like anime ramen, but that does not apply to any kind of other food. So it's not actually true that he's a good cook, not at all.
And throws out the chicken powder pack when he makes ramen.
Exactly, he knows like the good. He knows how to make the broth like salty enough, and good ramen.
Nice and salty enough for those just barely hanging in their taste buds.
Yeah, I can eat.
All right. I need to know, how did that first field mission go so wrong?
Well, it wasn't. So I mean, you're referring to this zombification process, I assuming. Or just in general.
All I've heard is that first field mission with Beef. Is that when the zombification happened? You were already a Beef agent?
It would have been a little before, since he was pretty much a normal guy until then, not very much on Beef's radar. But actually, there was a mission of Beef that was happening in the area where when that happened. They were investigating this weird cult that started creating little fractures into space, mostly space, not time, but yeah, like dimensional fractures. They were investigating this cult who like gave off weird energy every once in a while, and they just happened to, instead of finding said cult, that just found like this weird dude that had been sort of sacrificed by the cult and decided to help him, I guess, like deal with this process. But yeah, so the mission of Beef itself was didn't go that wrong. They were just a bit late to the sacrifice. But yeah.
But it all turned out okay.
Yeah. He's fine.
Wonderful. All right, bring it around a second time.
So, what song does your character absolutely hate for people to ask him to play? Like, you know how there's like, oh, anyway, here's a Wonderwall. What is your character's Wonderwall? The one that like everyone always asks for and he just hates playing.
Well, he's kind of a hipster, and so that's most song that people ask him to play. Always more of a folk singer. We call them chansonniers in French, which are just people that like to tell stories, or just a old French Canadian and old French song. And so whenever somebody's just like, yeah, like play Hey There Delilah, or your classic Wonderwall indeed, or any kind of normal day-to-day English song that are more popular and that can actually be heard at the radio, is kind of his Wonderwall. So he has a lot.
Alice, what do we got?
What do we lose by not listening to him as a group?
Well, literally, you're losing showtime, I guess, like if you don't listen to him play. But I assume it might not be exactly the response you're looking for. Well, as a performing musician, he's got a good sense of crowd. Like, he can read a crowd, how a crowd is feeling, like if they're starting to get bored, or if they need like starting to get bored, or they need a break, or they're starting to get angry. So he has a good eye for that, so he could advise on such a situation.
What is the one fracture, mystery, whatever, what one case could come up that he would absolutely not want to investigate?
Ooh, that's super interesting. So interesting that I feel like I need to think about it more, but can I think of like one that they would want to investigate? Anything that has to, it would have a hard time if it were a case about like deaf children. Like he would find it very, very hard, and would probably not be the best person. Although like he would want it solved, it would not be the best person to actually investigate the case.
Somebody else could do it.
Yeah, it's like we need absolutely somebody, but yeah, can't do it himself.
All right. I need to know, what have you gained from beef?
Place to be. Literally, like, as a person who looks very pale, very much like your I don't know if anybody seen In the Flesh, the show, but that's kind of like the zombie. It's not a show a lot of people know, but well, Felicien is very bluish, very wide eyed, very Comic-Con zombie style. So it doesn't pass as without a trace. Like, everybody can spot him and say that something is kind of weird. Of course, it's easy. You can say that he's cosplaying, or people just assume that he's cosplaying, or he's just a weirdo. But it, like, beef does give him a place to just be and not have to look just for somewhere to stay in his everyday day-to-day life.
All right, excellent. Sarah, you ready to tell us a little bit about Eddie? Sorry.
Bring it on.
Eddie.
Reese.
Okay. So, what is the one thing that Eddie likes to do every single day? Doesn't have to be big, just has to be like a thing, like something like how people are like, oh, don't talk to me unless I've had my coffee. But like, what's the one thing that like you don't bother Edie before they've done a particular thing?
Eddie has to be given a little bit of time to check in internally, to meditate. Yeah, he doesn't do anything unless he's taken 10-15 minutes at the beginning of the day to just check in with what he knows and what he's experienced and make sure that he at least is okay.
Okay. So what was the trauma that changed Eddie the most?
That's a good question. The trauma that changed him the most.
Among the many trauma.
Among the many. Wow. Yeah, that's like a two-pronged question. I think being present when his grandfather died. It was terrible. I mean, to lose somebody that he cared about that much and who was so influential in his life. And it was not an easy death. Like, it wasn't a simple passing in his sleep or something like that, but it was also an honor to be there. So he's very conflicted about that moment in his life and dealing with that moment in his life.
Okay.
What's the prophetic dream he had that had the most impact on his personal life?
Hey, you guys are hitting me with the big questions.
Sorry. That's true, right? Yeah.
That had the most impact. Gosh. The most. Come on, Eddie. Talk to me, man.
I can get another one if you want.
Oh no, it's okay. Just gonna take me a second. Man. Yeah, maybe that I need to think more about that one because I'm not
It is
getting an
quite a
answer for
loaded.
that one. That's a big one.
Mhm.
Do you have another question that you want to switch out?
Yeah.
Time to work on that
Absolutely.
You have a softball somewhere.
one.
Well, okay, yeah. What's your ambition in life? Is it too much to?
No. That one's actually easier to answer than the last one. He absolutely wants to become like a director of the technical side of beef, or the overarching organization that might sit over beef. Like, he wants to take over as director of that department and just invent something that literally changes the world. Like, people will not be able to live without it. He wants to be that person who invents the internet, that scope of something. Yeah, that's his big
ambition.
If I could, yeah.
Nice.
All right. Eddie, looking at your file here, speaking of world-changing inventions, Could you please elaborate a little bit more on that level 5 fractalation event you triggered?
Man, he was trying to invent weather control, okay? Because the country is in different places having problems with weather, right? Like people are being flooded, people are having droughts, people are, he was trying to invent something that would control the weather. He totally did not mean to create an entire different dimension that was entirely populated by weather events, like they're sentient weather events. Like you have sentient tornadoes and monsoons and all this stuff like warring with each other in this other event. He totally didn't mean to do that. It was a complete and total accident, and he's gonna pay for that for the rest of his life probably. But accidents happen.
Got to break a few eggs, right?
That's right.
All right. Once more around.
Why does Eddie not allow Runt anywhere near his tech supplies?
Eddie is convinced that part of Runt's ability to teleport involves a static field, basically, that surrounds her. And anytime she gets near the truly sensitive electronic equipment, it just fries, like instantly fries. Anything that Eddie has ever given to Runt has been double, triple shielded, so it won't just like if she puts in an earbud, it's like super protected, so it won't literally catch on fire. So yeah, he doesn't want her near his really nice, super sensitive stuff.
Alice.
Looking back at our questions.
Oh
What
no.
secret knowledge do you have?
Oh, true.
A
lot.
Like, do I have to give you the secret? No, I'm kidding. Eddie,
you don't have to give us the most secret, just some secret.
No.
Yeah. Just like
I
secret.
will say this. Eddie has a spirit guide that he talks to, who has insight into some large scale events that are going on up there. So yeah, he's got knowledge about some stuff that's going on pretty high level that he does not easily share.
Yes, that's my turn. I was trying to think like the most interesting question, and damn.
You can bring your other question back around.
God.
You just mean. No, I'll go with probably something more simple, I guess. But since we haven't talked about like other people that Eddie knows, what's their relationship with like their support system? So I'm saying that can be parents or friends in general. Like, what's their relationship with them?
He's got a decent relationship with his parents. I mean, their parents, like, mom and dad are okay. He doesn't want to hang out with them a lot, but they're fine. He does have a little sister who is his confidant, like they're very close. She knows things that the parents don't know. She's the one that he goes to first for advice if he needs to ask a question or something. Very protective of her, but also relies on her for support in return. So yeah, that's his. I mean, he's got friends outside of Beef. Don't tell anybody because he doesn't share that he's actually a big secret agent man. But yeah, he it's mostly his little sister that is like his best friend, most supportive person.
All right, so we've learned a lot about how committed Eddie is to Beef and some of Eddie's grand ambitions, and just really strong ties to the Bureau. So despite all that, I need to know, how has the Bureau wronged Eddie?
Let's see. I think the Bureau has wronged him by basically putting him through trials, like testing his talent, rather than just letting him prove himself naturally. Like he's had to jump through hoops to be like, are you good enough? Are you talented enough? And he takes that as a personal slight. Like, yeah, I'm that good. Trusts that I'm that good, and he does not appreciate the fact that he was not trusted, that he wasn't taken at face value, that he had to jump through prescribed steps in order to make his way into beef. I think that's his opinion anyway.
Lovely. All right.
Which means we have one person left.
Just
and
one.
we get to make some questions now. So Reese, what would you like to know about our illustrious leader?
Why is the leader adamant that Runt stays within line of sight at all times?
It's a tall order to start with, because one split second and Runt could be not just out of sight, but anywhere out of sight. I think a big part of it is concern. The types of things that we're going to be facing in the field, if you're too close, to a major fractalation event, what happens if Runt teleports straight into the eye of one of those? So I think really it's a little bit of concern for the team and concern for Runt, not wanting to see them teleport into something they can't teleport back out of.
On to me. Once upon a time, he had to be a rookie. Eventually. What was the mission that he failed in and lost his team to?
Oh, ouch.
Ooh. That's a big question. Brett was involved in the research, in a research mission, studying how the energy released by fractalation events alters organic matter. And that mission did not go well. Organic matter was altered, and Brett's entire team wound up being irrevocably altered by exposure to fractal energy. And Brett was the only one that made it out of that.
Cam, picking up with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say my question was like, what went wrong with his previous team that he had to transfer? But okay, I guess like that's kind of answers it.
He could have more than one team. How much trauma has this man gone through?
Well,
right.
If the reason of his transfer was not his promotion, what was it?
Brett had an incident with a senior director in the agency or in the bureau. It did not end well, and so this promotion is really to get Brett far, far away from that senior director.
I don't want to ask how he feels about this promotion now, but I feel like
we've got another round.
Yeah.
So moving on to Sarah.
How much does Brett hate the fact that Eddie calls him the Butcher?
I think it's actually one of there was a little bit of trial period where it was just, I don't know if that's really for me. But I think it has kind of grown on Brett. So I don't know if he ever hated it, but I think it's also, honestly, Eddie's one of the first persons to give him a nickname. So he kind of embraces it from that regard. It's like a little bit of camaraderie there. Okay. This is a thing that's happening. All right, I'm the Butcher.
Cool.
And since I'm sure you have no questions for yourself, Mick, we're going to go back to the top of the round with Reese.
I have lots of questions for myself, but we'll save that for another day.
I guess I have to burn a question on this. What do we lose by not listening to you?
Years of experience with the Bureau. Brett is career track, been with the Bureau pretty much straight out of university. So, you know, if making a home at the Bureau and really making it kind of joining the family, if you will, is something that you have any sorts of ambitions for, Brett has seen some ins and outs of the Bureau. He's seen a couple different divisions. He's met a lot of directors. Maybe don't ask him for any personal recommendations with any of those directors, but he could tell you about them.
Okay, so I get the fun question then. What sort of weird pet does Brett have?
A raccoon.
Okay.
A very large three-legged raccoon.
3 pair of leg or 3 leg?
You know, I was going to say just 3, but I think 3 sets of legs now. Thank you, Cam. That's gorgeous. And yes,
Please let us have this Slipnir raccoon.
that's what I was just thinking.
Awesome. What's his name? So that's not my question, though.
Cam's like, it's not my name. Not the
That's
question.
not my question.
We're a little focused on this raccoon now.
Right?
Screw Brett. We know who's really in charge. We want to talk to the raccoon.
Is it
Expect there to
raccoon?
be there is going to be raccoon merchandise. Expect it. Expect it.
Don't try it. Okay. Yes. So, what makes Brett special to the Bureau? Like, what does he bring to the beef? Instead, just not experience, but like, what? Yeah, what does he bring to beef? What makes it special?
Are we on to? Wasn't that question 3? Are we on Sarah, or is it?
No, we're on quick Cam.
No.
Oh, that's right.
We're still on Cam. Cam. The
No,
name
but-
question
okay,
was not her question.
The name question was not my question.
That's right. That's
yeah.
right. That's right. You just asked about the how many legs.
Yes.
No, but come on.
Which a very fair question. So I'm sorry. What was your actual question?
My actual question, not related to the raccoon whatsoever, was what makes Brett special for the Bureau? Like, what does he bring to the agency?
Brett has a lot of direct experience with fractalation events. He's been very close to several. He spent some time with the research division. And yeah, there was a couple things that did not go well there. He's seen some of the interesting ways that fractalation energy can be harnessed. He's also seen some of the ways that it can go very, very, very badly. So yeah, he's been around that a lot, and he hasn't dealt with a lot of the other kind of the extra normal encounters part of beef. That is honestly a little bit new to him, but he's seen his fair share of fractalations.
Good.
So, Sarah?
Yeah. What would make the butcher turn and run?
Love this.
I feel like there's actually a surprising number of things. He doesn't want to see anything happen to his team. He's been through that. It left an imprint. So I think Brett would be a little bit paranoid about protecting his team. So honestly, I think they might be at a point right now where if things seem like they might get out of hand, if this is an investigative mission, we are a field team, we're an investigative field team. Confrontation, not necessarily one of our main objectives. So if something might happen to the team, I think Brett might be more likely to kind of give the signal to fall back quicker than you would expect.
Good to know. Yeah, Colonel Dad. I like Colonel Dad.
That's going to be the next merch. But I think that's actually gotten to most of our questions. I'm sure we have plenty, and based on the fact that we had a lot of interest in the raccoon, maybe we should take any follow-up questions about questions that have been asked or any lingering mysteries we need to know about from any of our characters.
I mean, I feel that there is plenty of other questions that needs to be addressed, but maybe better to address them like.
So we don't need to know the raccoon's name.
Maybe just that.
And whether we've all met the raccoon. Do we all know the raccoon exists?
Brooke definitely knows about the raccoon. She's trying to feed him like various things that a raccoon probably shouldn't be eating, but also a raccoon should also not have like 3 sets of legs. So, you know.
So who's to say how this thing's digestive system works?
Exactly. You can't tell her that you can't feed a raccoon uranium because I mean, if it's already radioactive, look at it.
So I think the raccoon's name is Trip.
Is that with 2 P's?
Of course it is.
I'm assuming that's with 2 P's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have been going about an hour, guys. And before we move on to our next session, do we want to go ahead and take 10?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
Take a break.
Back in 10 and discuss the Bureau a little bit more.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. See y'all in 10 minutes.
Yep. Remember, don't turn your cameras off.
Right. Or are we actually taking?
Oh yeah, are we?
From
Yeah.
How do we know?
A break from? We're taking a break for them, but are we taking a break for us too, or what?
Yeah.
Are we sitting around and going? Oh, okay.
We have an
So many
hour. We
questions.
got an hour in.
back.
All right, so to begin our recap of the past hour, reintroducing our now further expanded characters. We've learned a little bit more about them. And so, yeah, we'll run back around, same order, character, brief description from before, and what we've learned about them since. Reese, would you like to kick us off?
Sorry, your audio cut out. Could you repeat like most of what you said?
So just a quick recap of kind of what we've covered the past hour. So if you could run through describing your character again as we knew about them at the beginning of the session and some of the things we've learned about them since.
Got it. Okay. So Runt has a very strange symptom. I don't know what to call it. She teleports to random places when she sneezes. Due to that, we have learned that the reason how she stumbled upon Beef was she sneezed, teleported into a lab, agreed to be studied, but then thought, oh, being studied means I have to sit quietly while people poke at me and are just generally asking me dumb questions. I don't like that. I want to be an agent now. And kind of annoyed everyone into letting her be an agent. So she's Agent Runt. What was another thing that we have learned about her? She has sticky fingers. She likes to steal things anytime she teleports someplace as a sort of like, you know, of a marker of like where she's been. She'll be like, oh yes, I remember this rock. This was when I was inside that one volcano and I nearly died. Or like, oh yes, I remember this very expensive jewel. I was teleported into a safe and I just grabbed the first thing I saw. I don't know who it belongs to. It's probably not important. As such, she has made many enemies and is sort of with the Bureau as like a safety measure for herself as well. I can't remember what other answers I gave. That's all I remember.
We have also learned that Runt wreaks havoc on electronics.
Apparently so, yeah. So she wreaks havoc on electronics, and due to her being, you know, constantly here and there and just about anywhere, she's not really allowed to go run freely or run amok of things that she would like to, which sucks. But I mean, it sucks mildly less than just sitting in a lab all day.
All right, Alice.
And I am playing Cumulonimbus Doe, also called Nimbus, mostly called Nim. They're a college student that essentially stumbled into Beef accidentally, mostly because they were coming for the free food that definitely wasn't there. Though, unfortunately, once you are aware of Beef, they don't really let you go free. So they have put their lacrosse career behind them and struggled through the aptitude test, and they have a lot of coincidences that have happened to them, some scary, some not. Maybe it's a power, maybe it's a curse, maybe it's purely coincidence, but you know, they're just happy to be here, happy to help, pure of heart, dumb of ass.
Wow. That's it?
Yeah.
I mean, good. So, Félicien, my case, started with saying that, well, he's undead and that carries with him his guitar and pieces of himself. And that's basically only the information that's I started with. And so we discovered that actually it was discovered by Beef through a mission that happened where they were investigating fractures in the space continuum that a cult was making. And they stumbled onto Félicien that had been sacrificed by said cult. And that's how he got into beef because maybe they want to study him further or just keep him around. Beef has also given him a place to stay, since as a zombie, it's a bit hard to exist in the society. And before that, he had no experience with the supernatural whatsoever. His weirdest encounter were just with weirdos in the pubs at night that were either high or drunk. And yeah, he's good at ramen, but he can't cook other stuff.
He's good at ramen. I love that.
That's pretty much it.
And Eddie, I play Eddie Bluehill, is the tech guru of the team, who also occasionally sometimes has prophetic dreams, though he would not call himself a prophet. Please don't call him a prophet. But we've learned that his grand ambition is to become a technological mastermind and run the tech division of Beef. And he may or may not have created an alternate dimension by accident, but that's not going to happen again. And what else did we learn? He's really close with his little sister. And I to extrapolate just a little bit, I think he originally had a little bit of a beef, haha, with the boss over here, but yeah, apparently they are no longer beefing.
Well, they are beefing every day, always.
Yeah, but
yeah.
you know.
You know what they say, if you're not beefing, you're not doing your job. And I am Mick Wheaton, playing Corporal Brett Butcherson, aka The Butcher, as nicknamed by Eddie. Recently promoted to this position, in charge of his first field team, on an assignment way away from Bureau HQ after a not great interaction with a senior director at the agency. He was forced to transfer from another division he had been on. He's been with the Bureau for a long time, career track. Was very happy, well, as happy as one can be in his previous division after losing his entire team to a tragic event. He was willing to stick with it. He does bring to the table a knowledge of the workings of the Bureau and a 6-legged pet raccoon, Trip. And that is our field team.
Woohoo.
Means it's time to define what the team actually does.
Learn a little bit more about our department, about our team, about our Bureau.
About our beef.
Per the mod of Vast Starlit that we are looking over here, we've got, as a group, we're going to create our section of beef by answering the following questions. Why was this section started? What resources does it lack? And who does your section answer to? This one,
like a porterhouse.
So first question was,
why was this section started? And this one is not set up to follow any particular order. It's just a question of the group. So if anybody has a piece of that they'd like to propose.
you need a place to send all the new people?
So it's a proving ground. The what?
We're the rookie squad.
No, this is how you get broken in beef. You've got to prove that you're in it enough to learn the bigger secrets. So it's kind of.
I'd say jumping off of that, maybe consider we are tying this into Once Upon a Monster of the Week with our city of Reddington. Maybe Reddington's readings are just consistently an issue that it's a good way to see just what all the newbies are going to be cracked up to be. Let them experience Reddington before they deal with the extra.
So it's kind of like the abstract interview questions. Some people ask, how many jelly beans can you fit in a suitcase? Just to see how you spitball through working through that. It's, Reddington is kind of the final stage of the interview process for joining Beef. You've got to go see how you deal with that consistently inconsistent thing out there. And if you come back, we can discuss a place.
It's your case study, your technical interview.
Ugh, it's another hoop. Perfect.
Yeah, but at least we get all the equipment first, and
So
if we don't make it, we disappear.
Runt has definitely already been to Reddington because it's one place she has sneezed to. She only stayed long enough to do a dine and dash at the local eatery, Gilded Pheasant. She didn't come with any money, so she was just like, I'll just eat real quick and then I'll sneeze my way out. And that's exactly as long as she stayed in there. Yeah.
So we have
ordered 3 courses, was eating the last course, and it's just like, oh, pardon me, can I get a little more pepper on this? A little more, little more. Okay, thank you.
Yep, exactly. She's just, she was not ever planning on staying very long. She was just very hungry, went to the first decent looking place and sneezed her way out. And so I guess she got put on this team that's going to Reddington because she's already been there. So it's just like, all right, you're as much of a local as you can be in this team.
Hey, at least we know there's oxygen in Reddington now, at least.
Yeah.
So.
And it's not completely dangerous. There's a 63% pass rate.
Oh.
I mean, more agents come back than that. Just, what exactly comes back, how they come back.
Sometimes they don't come back the right way, but it's fine.
Yeah. There's blanket
For
paperwork.
average. It's over average.
Yeah.
So all that said, what resources does our section lack?
Credibility.
Well, I was gonna say all the good technical stuff that they keep for very dangerous missions.
We're probably on a budget. We're definitely on
exactly.
a budget.
They keep all the the real weaponry and they're gonna deal with aliens, so not the Reddington, the Reddington people doesn't get the weapon or the the
Our budget
we need to fill out paperwork just to have extra paperwork. It's a bureaucracy. We just have to somehow push through on pure ingenuity.
What do we have though?
I think we lack an office. We have we have 5 cubicles put together in the corner.
Well, if we're heading to Reddington, then I'm thinking we have we're going in a mobile home. I think that's what's happening.
We have the panel van
a
full
Westphalia.
of equipment.
Can we have a Westphalia?
We have a horse trailer. We have a horse trailer that's been outfitted.
Yep.
It's the Bureau picked it up on Craigslist because it's the field team. You may not even come back. We're not going to give you do you know how much it costs just to put the vinyl on those SUVs? You know what?
Y'all are killing Eddie. You're killing him. Just telling you that right now.
Eddie can make something out of nothing. It might be
true.
the
That's true.
five shoestrings and
That's
the
right.
$10 Visa gift card.
Scrapyards are Eddie's favorite place to go.
Also, Runt likes to steal things, so if there's anything Eddie needs,
nice,
totally fine.
Just give her a list. If you find this while you're sneezing your way through the universe.
I'd also say a big thing we probably lack is knowledge.
Oh well, we have the butcher though, right?
He knows everything, right? We're good.
What does Brett remember about Reddington the first time he went through?
Oh, Brett's never been to Reddington.
We're dead.
Brett was recently transferred to this field team. So yeah, this is going to be as much fun for Brett as it is for all of you.
I feel like not necessarily a lot of people from Beef have been here before. Maybe Beef has a lot of different small mission that they call, or easy, constant, and abnormality that they just sent like beginner teams too, and Reddington happens to be one of those. But maybe like Beef
This
doesn't
is
really
definitely
know.
a very chaotic team, though. Like this is.
I don't know what you mean.
One thing we don't lack: enthusiasm.
I was kind of thinking that this team was specially selected for Brett.
Oh, for
sure. After he pissed off that senior director. This team was put together. You know what? We've got just the team for you. You're going to go to Reddington because it is far, far from HQ. And
you're
maybe
taking these
definitely a
people with you.
punishment.
I was gonna ask is it actually a training branch or are we a punishment branch? Did we all do something to end up in this particular branch?
Brent is not supposed to be an agent. She just annoyed the people enough.
We might be the Suicide Squad a little bit, but
yeah, there you go. Told you he was going to pay for that dimension for the rest of his life. Dang it.
It's not insurmountable odds, but it is a little bit of an uphill battle to come back from that one.
Fair enough.
All right. Who does our section answer to? Reddington, apparently.
Well, we do have a
the town council. No.
The town council.
Oh my god.
No.
The town council just created us for fun.
We do actually have a director.
Oh, who's the director?
We do have somebody above us, don't we? I mean, we have been assigned to come to Reddington, so there has to be somebody who's pulling the strings.
Nick, would you like to share?
So our immediate supervisor would be Director Wendy Darling.
Oh God! Of course it is.
Are you really? Oh my God!
Of course.
Oh my God!
Of course it is.
That is our immediate supervisor for this branch of investigative field teams.
For the listeners, Wendy is like a recurrent character, very important character in the Monster of the Week podcast.
It's a different Wendy.
So.
It's actually that's Wendy.
Yeah, that's Wendy Darling.
And this is Wendy Darling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Wendy.
See, Director Darling.
Of course. Yeah, not the same at all.
They are actually two different people. Two very different people.
I don't know if that's terrifying or comforting. I don't know.
But I mean, you know, the way the universe goes, some things just have a tendency to repeat themselves.
For sure.
Yeah, almost like it fractalates.
There you go.
All right, and then individually, we're each going to run through one final pair of questions. Why did you join this section? And how do you make yourself place in it? I think we've all kind of taken a stab at those to some degree or other. So just kind of close it out by reflecting on those two. So why did you join this section, willingly or unwillingly? And how did you make yourself a place in it?
Runt didn't join. She was placed. She was placed in the section because she annoyed people just enough that they were like, "Fuck it, go here. This is your team now." She makes her place in it by like doing nothing that is required of her. She definitely is very much like enamored with every shiny thing she sees, and so she is running amok. And the butcher is just sort of there to keep her in line if he can do that at all. So she makes her place by like doing whatever she wanted, which is just what she's been doing so far.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Alice?
Well, Nimbus, I guess, joined. They came because they really thought there was going to be free food. Instead, they got a job.
Hey, Ron got some free food.
Yeah. And I mean, technically, they have a career now, so that solves the whole college thing. And hopefully some of those college debts. So, you know, like their parents might be able to be proud of them now. They've got like a real government job, real benefits, maybe. They didn't really read over the job description. It was a lot of black mark out. But they make a living. They make a good living. And they just kind of do whatever is told of them. They do a lot of the heavy lip boxes and just generally takes cues from Brett.
All right. Cam.
So yes, as mentioned before, Félicien joined because he had nowhere else to go, and also because Beef wanted to keep an eye on the fact that this cult had created what he became, and so God knows what else this undead person will bring. Anyway, he has some kind of weird fractal-ish magic popping off him sometimes, but that's nothing probably not concerning at all, probably. So what he wants from the question is what sorry, I don't have it under my eyes.
How do you make yourself a place in the team, in the section?
He's kind of casual about it. It doesn't like this, just the little sparks of magic or what he thinks he can bring to the to the teams, like sometimes if he can't control it. And apart from that, it's just good music, which is probably not enough.
He brings the vibes.
He brings a vibe. That's exactly that. He sees this a bit as a mean to an end, by being with people who knows about all these weird stuff. Maybe we can fix his own problem of being dead. Yes, so he's gonna do his best to contribute to the work.
So he's dead, but he's holding out hope that he'll get better.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, he's still walking and talking, right?
All right. Sarah?
I kind of feel like this is sort of a punishment for Eddie. But I also think that I feel like this team is sort of like, I'm not trying to convince anybody to go buy anybody's books, but there is in the Dresden Files series, there is a department in the police department that is specifically designed to deal with weird paranormal stuff, and I kind of feel like this team got put together to deal with the weird shit. So if you know anything about the weird shit, you sort of get shuffled into this team as a way to get you, like the really weird shit, to get you out of the way of other things, get you away from the director or away from causing dimensional rifts or whatever. So I think that's probably the main reason why Eddie is here, is because they went, you go with them.
All right.
And
special assignment.
Right, special assignment. Yeah, don't come back. I mean, maybe come back, but and I think how he makes his mark is by, y'all, if you want it, he'll build it. He will build you as many cool, small, hidden, nifty, able to do things, gadgets as he can on the budget and the scraps that he can find, and takes requests and takes challenges, and that's his thing. He wants everybody to be able to go back eventually. So yeah, if he can help out in some way by building you something that will keep you safe, he's on it.
All right. So Mick, moving over to you.
I joined this section against my will. You really, yeah, you got to be careful when you're interacting with other directors, even if it's their fault. You really, you try to keep yourself out of the situations are going to be bad situations. Sometimes it's out of your hands. So yeah, I was assigned to this particular team in this particular division, away from my division that I've spent many years in the Bureau. And I'll make myself a place here by trying to see that the mistakes of the past are not repeated with some of my previous teams, get us out there, investigate that anomaly, get us back, and maybe earn enough good grace with the Bureau to get back to my previous department.
which leaves us looking forward to next week.
So, yeah, next week, per our game plan for continuity errors, in that we have many game plans, switching systems each week, we will be playing the Anomaly game system by Carter Richmond as we begin our session 1 game as our investigative field team assembles to receive their first mission together from the Bureau of Extra Normal Encounters and Fractalations, and heads out to study the Reddington anomaly.
So you will see us live here on Twitch next week at 5 Eastern. And heading out, once again, I am Alice Hart, she, they. Find me anywhere online at Hellion Hart. Taking it over, Reese.
I'm Reese Tirado. Do not try to find me, please. Go for it, Cam.
Hi, I'm Cam Clark, they, them. I'm on Twitter at Pocketo. It's Pocceto. Sarah.
I'm Sarah Palmero, she, he pronouns. You can find me on almost any social media platform at Palmero's Voice.
And I'm Mick Wheaton. I'm selectively hidden and or not around the internet. If you can find me somewhere, it'll probably be under the handle of MC Wheaty. And this has been a production of Haunted Griffin Entertainment and a deep dive into the world of Once Upon a Monster of the Week, which is also something you are welcome to go and check out and scratch that itch if you're curious about some of the other things we've been talking about today.
Yep, our next episode will be going live this Friday, if everything stays on schedule, on August 5th. All right, bye guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.